Hello. Sorry I'm late.
Oh, hey.
Very busy.
That's really good to meet you.
Time. Reviewing restaurants. It's a crazy business. I'm here today for Moon Rabbit.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Are you Chef Kevin?
No.
You don't look like Chef
I'm
Kevin.
not Chef Kevin. I'm just like I cook there. I'm just like a cook.
So you're like an underling? Strange. They don't usually send me underlings. It's just.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we all do a lot of work.
Yeah. So what do you do? What do you do at this Moon restaurant?
I'm a cook. So we do a lot of. I work the line at night.
Okay.
During our dinner service, I do some prep. Sometimes I'm on like AM prep.
Okay.
They let me do a little bit of everything.
Prep work. What do you what got you into cooking? What do you cook for? Why do you like to do that?
Oh, I mean, I just think food is like the best way to, I don't know, like share time with somebody.
Interesting.
So I think that, if you're like, think about food, it has a lot of cultural impact and it can provoke a lot of emotion from people. Are you listening?
What do you continue to pursue it? Like what keeps you motivated to explore food, to explore cooking?
Oh, I mean, it's just an endless world, right? So like even if you get bored with one thing, you just get to do
Aladdin.
I feel like you're not listening.
Yeah, you made a really awesome Aladdin reference, and I just remembered I have to watch that with my wife later on.
Oh, right. That's weird.
Have you seen the second Aladdin movie?
Yeah, it wasn't very good.
It's really bad, yeah.
Yeah, I knew we could like hang out.
Yeah, so why do you? Huh?
Sorry.
You think you can hang out with me?
You can shut up.
You're an underling.
I'm sorry.
Did you say why you loved it?
Yeah, I love it. I love it because I like to cook for people and give them like a nice night out and stuff like that.
That's beautiful. What do you like about working at Moon Rabbit?
I think the people are really nice. It's also where I started working, so it's like a restaurant that I know very well.
You're nostalgic.
Not because it's nostalgic, just because like I know everybody.
That's true.
I like everybody, so it's like fun.
I watched Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and I kind of had the same thing because I like all those characters. I know all those characters.
I wouldn't expect a food critic like you to be such a Sonic fan.
Yeah, I have kids.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I recently ate at your restaurant, and I'm going to be doing a thorough review. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah. I mean, like, what's your? I mean, I know you're like a food reviewer or something. I've never really heard of you.
What?
So, like...
You've never heard of me?
Well, like, what? I don't know, like, who do you review for? Are you, like, New York Times or, like...
School Lunches.
Michelin? Oh.
Yeah, I am George from George's Lunch Food Review, I go around to different, like, school lunches. I'm actually breaking out of my comfort zone even to be, first off, talking to you.
Right.
Dressed like that. But to even be reviewing your food, I mean... You're going to be hearing my words, but,
Okay.
I'm going to be very honest. There was a movie made about me, Mr. What's your name?
I'm Forrest.
Stupid ass, Mr. Stupid ass.
Sorry, I'm stupid ass. That's my name.
Based on my life, actually.
Okay.
Yes, I will be conducting a no punches held review. So get ready for that.
Okay.
Welcome back to the Obligatory Podcast.
Yes.
I recently went over to Moon Rabbit, gave them a little bit of a visit.
You was there for a little while.
I was there for a couple of hours. It was just about time that I gave Moon Rabbit the old George's Lunch Food Review.
Yeah, I mean, obviously George has like a really long history with food reviewing. That's where his career, his path to stardom, really like began and I would say flourished.
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, I'm going to say this, Forrest. I don't think we would be doing this podcast if food review did not exist. Now, obviously, got to talk about the elephant in the room, the Moon Rabbit in the room, if you will. I primarily review lunch food.
Yes.
Not only did I dip my toes into fine dining, I did the dinner rush. I did the dinner menu.
Yeah.
But hopefully, you guys are going to be able to look past that. I'll be fair. I got a taste for dinner. This is my first time trying fine dining. So that was a very excellent experience.
Well, it's interesting as well because Moon Rabbit is like we're not like traditional fine dining. I think when people think of fine dining, they think of like multi-course like French restaurant where like everybody gets their own dish, and like each dish is probably going to be containing like a meat, a vegetable, and a starch. Like it's like a full meal. Like that's like what people think of. That's not what we do. We do a lot of like family style food, so it's like a lot of like sharing. And we do a lot of dishes that are like, you need to order multiple things. Like a vegetable dish is just the vegetable because we want it to be like the best expression of the vegetable. It doesn't have to be like contained by something that goes perfectly with this thing. All of our food is obviously like it's well thought out, so it like does all go together, but you know what I mean.
Very nice. First off, I'm just gonna talk about the atmosphere of the restaurant. It's very different from anywhere that I've been to. As I said before. Oh,
yeah, and we play pop music. So that's our that's the weird thing we do for fine dining as well.
You guys have a drink on your menu called the Good Luck Babe, which is
we have a bunch of Taylor Swift references there too. Kevin's a really big Swiftie and girl pop.
Is he actually?
Yeah. In one of our bathrooms, there's a poster of Taylor Swift lyrics. It's like it looks like a newspaper article, but it's like the title of one of her songs, and then the article is like all the lyrics.
Is that like in the back or in
the bathroom?
Okay.
So like it's only in one of the bathrooms.
Okay, yeah, I don't think I was able to see that one.
Yeah, we had a second one, but one of our guests really liked it, so Kevin gave it away.
Really? Damn. Yeah. So I could have liked the
No,
poster.
I don't think that's normal. I don't know. He's very nice of him. I don't know why he did it.
Yeah, the restaurant is called Moon Rabbit. When I walked in, Forrest, I was pleasantly surprised. Lots of moons. An overabundance of moons.
Yeah.
But I was looking around, couldn't see any rabbits.
Well, there are some rabbits.
But when I got into the actual restaurant, there were plenty of rabbits. There was a very cute, there were two very cute, grass bunnies, like hedge-made bunny little, toy things.
Yeah.
On the, shelf next to me. Very cute. Really love the decor.
We do a lot of cute shit at Moon Rabbit. That's one of the things we like to say is we do cute shit.
Yeah, I remember you were talking about the music that was playing. You guys play pop music a lot. And my mom actually commented on it. She was like, I didn't expect she really enjoyed it. But she was like, I didn't expect a fine dining restaurant like this to be playing music like that.
Yeah, I think I like it as a concept because I think it makes people feel more comfortable. A lot of people would come into a restaurant that is priced like we are. Like we are definitely expensive. And that makes us fine dining. But I think it's more comfortable feeling. It's kind of cozy almost because the dining room, it's dark, but it's not too dark.
No, it's kind of like the lighting in here, It's very romantic, It definitely gets, the hormones just shooting out left.
Order a few oysters. I mean, your night might change.
The world, Forrest. All the servers were very pleasant. I actually requested Chef Forrest or Cook Forrest, to come out and give his suggestions, which was very nice. And then after that, 3 people came out of the Wordworks. 3 servers came out of the Wordworks that come up to me and tell me personally that they really enjoyed the podcast, which was
3 is crazy. I only know about 2.
What is it? 2 people were like, I like this episode, and that one guy came up and he was like, yeah, I watched the YouTuber fighting game episode and also the OJ Simpson episode.
Shout out Brandon.
And he commended me. He said, yeah, you really did your homework with that one, and I was very happy because I did do my homework for the OJ episode. One other server came up and was like, is that the famous George Sullivan from the Obligatory Podcast? Oh, I embarrassed myself for it.
You embarrassed yourself?
One of your chefs came out to talk to me about something they wanted to do at the end of the dinner.
Yeah.
And originally we were going to do that up here or down here in Richmond.
Right.
And I just threw a bunch of word salad in her face, and I could tell that none of it, she was picking up none of it. I was like, I'm just saying nothingness out into the air.
That's okay. Everybody, it has to happen.
It was awful.
Yeah.
But everyone was very nice.
Well, that day, I told them that you were coming in. And so, in the pre-shift that all of our, front of house has, where they talk about, all the VIP guests and stuff, you were brought up. And they said, yeah, Forrest's best friend and host, or co-host of his podcast, which not everybody knew. I don't keep it a secret, but, not everybody hears me talk about it.
Yeah.
So I had people coming up to me all night being like, oh, so you have a podcast? I was like, yeah, Esquire's Best New Podcast 2025.
Yeah, I was really worried that you guys would think that I no-showed because the reservation was made in my mom's name.
I told them that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Phew. Yeah, I see no reason why we can't just start getting into things.
Yeah, and please tell us the negative too, because we're always trying to learn and grow.
I will.
Okay.
I will. Yeah, the video viewers will of course be able to see the pictures of the food and drinks and whatever that I talk about.
Our audio listeners, you guys are really good Imagineers from what I hear.
Yes.
So this should be no problem at all.
Absolutely. Starting off, me and my mom got drinks. Mm-hmm. We got a couple of cocktails.
Our bar program, by the way, just recently won the Michelin bar award.
Oh wow!
For DC, which is a really big deal.
Congratulations!
So shout out T.
Yeah, I went with my mom and my brother. My brother was only 19, so he got himself a San Pellegrino. We got the whole bottle delivered to the table.
That's the fine dining water, actually.
Yeah.
Every restaurant that is fine dining has San Pellegrino.
Really?
And Aquapana for flat water. So sparkling San Pellegrino, Aquapana flat water. That's how you know you're in a fine dining restaurant.
Awesome. Hey, and of course, I've had that drink before. Most people have had that drink. It was delicious. He loved it. He drank the entire bottle.
As he should. Get your fucking value.
I specifically got the ice tamarind. In that it's Forrest, since this is your restaurant, you can tell me what's fucking in this.
You don't know how to read these words.
Nope.
Yeah, we have some tequila, some tamarind, pineapple juice, ginger syrup, salted coconut foam, and nutmeg grated on top.
Mm-hmm. Have you had this? Have you had this before?
I can't drink any of our cocktails.
Good boy.
And I don't work in the bar, obviously, so I don't really know the stuff. Sometimes I do some bar prep because they have some fermented stuff on the menu that we do for them. But
yeah, I really like this drink. It was very tangy, of course, because of the not the barbecue. Oh my god, wow.
The tamarind and the pineapple.
The pineapple. I really enjoyed it. I personally was not a fan of the cream on top. Just not something that I personally enjoy when drinking. So I think I would have preferred to have that off, but it in no way detracted from the taste of the drink itself, which was definitely what shined the most in it. And my mom, she got herself a lover. In that it's got some gin.
See, that's a Taylor Swift reference.
Yeah,
it's an era.
There you go. And my mom's not even a Taylor Swift fan. She hates Taylor Swift actually. So
wow.
And she loved the drink. She's still called the lover for a reason.
Wow.
Yeah, she got some. Yeah, you read those.
Yeah. So she got some Roku gin. Oh yeah, well I can't read all of this. The thing about cocktail menus is it's very funny. It's mostly brands and then words that only mixologists know. Mm-hmm. And I'm definitely outing myself as someone who doesn't know as much as I should about the bar program. But it's a gin-based drink. It has some nutty and earthy elements. Mm-hmm. A spicy... That sounds very good. And salted plum powder. Wow.
I really enjoyed this one as well. It was very strong, which I wasn't personally expecting. But it was still very sweet. It was very delicious. Mm-hmm. It had like a nice sugar rim.
Yeah, that would have been the salted plum.
Yeah,
which is common. It's a Korean thing.
I'm new to drinking. I'm new to this whole alcohol thing. So I've only experienced a couple other rimmed drinks.
Yeah. But so you like rim jobs typically?
I'm gonna come out and say it. When it comes to my alcohol and many other things in my life, I love a good rim job. Just
it can enhance your experience.
Circling with your tongue and picking up all those juicy.
And
flavors.
It adds a lot of flavor.
Oh yeah, the flavors.
It just touches your tongue and the flavors explode.
Yeah, are you familiar with the Johnny Gross Out scale?
Oh, I love the Johnny Gross Out scale.
Well, you know what? For any of our audience members who may not be familiar with the Johnny Gross Out scale and might hear my ratings and be like, "What? Are you kidding me?" The Johnny Gross Out scale is named after a great soldier who laid down his life in the name of food reviewing. Basically, a 10 is super gross.
Yeah, that grosses Johnny out the most.
Yeah, and a 0 is fantastic. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely delightful. For the Ice Tamarind, I really enjoyed it. I'm going to give that one a 2 out of 10 on the Johnny Gross Out scale. That's
a great score.
And the Lover, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. Personally, I don't really enjoy my alcohol to be very strong.
Right, and you ordered off the bold, the alcohol heavy side of the menu, though, right?
Yeah, I did not know that was the case.
Well, I think it's split into sections here. Yeah, tropical and confident. Forward and complex. So that's probably the most alcoholic. Joyful.
But I see. Light, sour and playful. Yeah. Me and my mother both got it. Which is like a fun
way, I think, to lay out a menu.
I agree. And if I had known that, I definitely would have gone for something more sour and playful. Because I do love sour. I mean, there's one dessert on the menu where it was a little bit tart. Yeah. That you're going to hear me talking about. You're going to hear me raving about.
This is cool. I like when restaurants do this. I think that there's this new fad in menuing. Because I know about menuing.
Yeah, you should.
There's a fad in menuing that is not doing just appetizers, blah, 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 blah. People come and that's boring to them. You can also definitely get people to spend more money if people come into a restaurant with an intention, right? They know what they want. So if you lay things out for them in a way that makes sense to them, it makes it even easier. They order quicker, which means you're saving money on the amount of time that they're looking at the menu. And
that's true.
They're eating faster. Time is money. And people just like it. If you're looking at a food menu and it's stay for a while is the title, and that's a big dish, you know exactly what you're getting. You're just greeting you, you're more inclined to order that and then maybe something else as well.
Yeah, that makes complete sense to me. Forrest, since he knew I was coming and since we are, co-hosts on this podcast, Forrest was very gracious to let me, on top of the meal that me, my mom, and my brother ordered, also send out various little items for us to taste, to try out, which I really appreciated. And we're going to go through those now. Forrest, what is this?
So that is our pho spiced mousse, liver mousse, with compressed pears under it. So basically, pate is a really big thing in Vietnam, but this is a very French way to make it. Pate is made out of chicken livers.
Yeah.
Typically containing the way that you normally make it is you take chicken livers, you sear them off, you deglaze that with alcohol, brandy or cognac, very commonly, and then you'll take it in a blender. With some aromatics and whatever spices you want and blend it up. You can set it with gelatin or butter or just make it kind of chunkier. You can not blend it up all the way. You can blend it up all the way. We make a mousse, so it's super smooth. It's super buttery. That's probably not 50% butter, but there's a lot of fucking butter in there. And we spice it like pho. So everyone's favorite Vietnamese soup.
Yeah.
This is, by the way, a contemporary Vietnamese restaurant or a Vietnamese Cajun restaurant. So the chef is from the American South, but his family is Vietnamese. And he spent a lot of his youth in Louisiana. And in Louisiana, but specifically New Orleans, where he is not from, there's a really big Vietnamese population. And so they have created a cuisine called Viet Creole or Viet Cajun that mixes Cajun food and Vietnamese food, and it actually works very well.
Yeah.
I didn't talk about this food at all. Yeah, it's spiced like your favorite Vietnamese soup, and it has some compressed pineapples pears under it. It's compressed in lime and lemon. So it kind of gets a Sprite flavor, to be honest. So it's very nice. It's sweet and extremely savory.
Yeah, all the wait staff explained all the meals to me, but it's been a while since I've worked at your restaurant, so Forrest is going to be updating me on what I'm.
Also, I know the food more intimately than they do.
That's true. When I first saw this coming out to the table, Forrest, I thought, oh boy, Forrest brought out some cupcakes for us because they look like those tiny little cupcakes you would get at I don't know, an elementary school kids' birthday.
Yeah, just because of the piping. Yeah.
Yeah, so it definitely shocked me a little bit when I first bit into it because it was more it wasn't a cupcake.
Right, it wasn't what you expected.
It wasn't at all what I was expecting. But I think this was a very good thing to first try because it opened my eyes to what was what I could possibly be eating tonight, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it was I think my mother said it best when she said it it was very it was very surprising, but it made her very excited to keep eating because it was unlike anything that she and by extension me had ever tried before because it was it was so incredibly creamy. It makes sense when you said that this was 50 nearly
it's a lot of butter.
It's a lot of butter. It's a lot of fucking butter. When I bit into it, it was it was it crumbled in my mouth a little bit, the outside of it a little bit.
The tart shell.
And then I kept going and it kind of like swished and swashed in my mouth, like I was like not eating peanut butter, but like kind of a very similar consistency.
Yeah, it's a mousse, so it's very similar to that.
Yeah. And it also it just tasted fantastic.
Yeah, I like this dish a lot. It's like it's one of our snacks. So if you order our tasting menu or chef's visit to Vietnam, you get a few courses of food and you start off with the snacks. And like those are the exclusive things that you get from ordering it. And I think they're really good. Like this snack in particular, we had this version of this pate on when we were at a different location as well. It's been a like mainstay, and it's really like a punch you in the face with flavor. It's a really good way to start.
But it's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give this I think I'm gonna give this a 1 out of 10.
That's
on the Johnny Gross Head scale. I really enjoyed it. This is definitely one of the things that I've been like savoring the most, like craving the most since leaving the restaurant.
And people are scared of this kind of food too, because it's like it's livers, it's awful, like it makes them, but like it's very delicious.
There were definitely a lot of things similar to this that at first I was like a little bit adverse to eating, but then I tried and I was like, this is very interesting. Tell me about these chips. Now I have to apologize for us. I did not have my phone. My phone was dead while this was going on. So all these pictures it's okay. Are of varying qualities.
Yeah, it's all right. So this is our marinated mussel snack. I think we actually just took it off the menu.
Oh, what? Really?
We're changing our menu. We're going into winter. We're heading into a new year. Last year we didn't get a Michelin star. So this year, we're trying to like change a lot of things. Really like tighten up, I guess. This is our marinated mussels, and it's on top of a sesame cracker, which are these like tapioca based rice based crackers with sesame seeds in them, and you fry them and they get like super crispy. They don't have much taste, but they taste very clearly of sesame seeds and rice. Like there's something there. It's a little sweet, very delicious. One of my favorite snacks. Then the marinated mussels are just mussels that we take just a shit ton of aromatics and like chili oil and a little bit of like toasted rice powder and lime juice for a little bit of acidity and like get like a nice toasty like nutty flavor in there. And then just micro cilantro on top.
This is definitely this is personally in my top 3 favorite things that I ate at the restaurant.
Oh wow, yeah.
Because like I don't know, my favorite food of all time, Forrest knows this, it's the nacho. I think it is diverse, it is incredibly flavorful, it is fun to eat.
Textural wonderland.
Like the texture goes crazy, and I had a very similar experience eating the cracker and eating the mussel. Like I bit into it. I felt just so giddy, actually. Like I'm reliving it now. It was a very fun thing to eat. It had like the perfect amount of like spice. Like there was just like a hint,
a little bit of spice,
a little hint of spice, which I really liked. The crunch was fantastic. The flavors, you know that scene from Ratatouille. You cook. People probably reference this scene to you all the time. The scene where Remy bites into the cheese. It's delicious, and then he bites into the strawberry. Yeah,
delicious.
And then he like tries both of them, and it's like a flavor wonderland. That's how I felt eating this. Perfect amount of salt too. I really like a good like perfectly salted like chip cracker type of thing. And I really enjoyed this. I'm personally also gonna give this. Maybe I'm going to get crazy for us. I'm going to give this a 0 out of 10.
0 out of 10 this early on?
On the Johnny Gross Head scale. I was very impressed from the jump. But let's get a little bit more herbivore. Tell me about these guys.
Yeah, that's our summer roll. So summer rolls traditionally in Vietnam are not what this is. They're wrapped in like rice paper that's soaked, and then typically they're filled with maybe like some seafood. Almost always there's going to be some lettuce and some herbs in there, something fresh. And then commonly they're served with peanut dipping sauce.
Yes.
What we do instead of peanut is we make a sunflower sauce. It's supposed to mimic like that peanut dipping sauce, which is really just like peanut butter and hoisin sauce. So this is hoisin-esque. We make like 3 different types of miso in there, a bunch of like some different vinegars.
What's miso?
Miso is...
So I'm putting you to the test here.
No, well, I'm trying to not give like a crazy big explanation, but basically miso is like miso soup?
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's just miso and water. Okay. So miso is like fermented soybean, specifically a Japanese way to ferment soybean, commonly done with koji, which is like inoculated rice grain. It ferments for a while. It comes out and it's super full of umami and like salty. It's also the liquid that it produces is soy sauce. I see. If you kind of can imagine that like flavor profile going on, we make 2 of our misos. We make a sweet potato miso. So we take sweet potatoes instead of soybeans and use the same process. And then we also take a sunflower miso. So that's instead of the peanut, sunflower. It's one of my favorite like products that we make. I think it's like super Moorish. Like it makes you just want to eat more of it. But the summer rolls themselves are like we sheet out daikon radish. So it's like these thin, kind of crisp, very fresh like sheets of radish, and we use that instead of rice paper to wrap up some pickled carrots, some like fresh enoki mushrooms, some herbs, some lettuce, some cucumbers. The idea of this dish is just like pure freshness. Like you bite into it, it's just so fresh and like
that's definitely what I was like thinking when I was eating it. It was like these are some of the freshest vegetables I've ever eaten in my entire life. Like it felt like to me, like you guys, like I ordered this. You guys went out behind the restaurant, picked these out from a garden, and then like cut them up and gave them to me.
Right.
Didn't even like really do anything to it. Just like plated it really nicely, put them all together.
It's basically a salad.
Yeah, it was salad. It was a salad in like a very bite-sized form, and that bite specifically, oh my god, so crunchy, so crisp, made an excellent sound. When I think I learned more about myself while eating at your restaurant, because like the sound that a food makes, like a very nice like crunch, a very consistent texture, I think, is what I like really, really enjoy.
This is a scientific thing, actually. I have a book about like the 5 senses of cooking and how they all interact with each other. But like if you hear something in your mouth when you bite, it's very satisfying and you're like predisposed to like it more, as opposed to when you have like when you have like a green bean and it's squeaky. And that's like, it might not even taste bad, it might be very delicious, but it's squeaky, and that alone makes you not want to eat it. So it's actually like texture is very important. Also like the auditory component of eating is like way more important than people think. Also
it was so incredibly like juicy, all these vegetables together. Like I felt like my mouth fill up with like fresh water.
It's like a bunch of like marinated and pickled and fresh vegetables. So like the marinated and pickled ones will exude the liquid that they have like soaked up, so it feels even more fresh. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense to me. I thought this was great. I'm also inclined to give this. I'm thinking a 2 out of 10 on the Johnny Gross Out scale. You know what's really unfortunate in this era that we're living in, Forrest? I keep going to give my score, and I keep thinking like, how many booms does this get? I keep almost going like, I give this 5 big booms, but that's not what we do.
But no, that's not what we do.
We don't do that.
That's not what you do.
I don't do that. I do the Johnny Gross Out scale. I am not gonna rip off.
Don't be one of the Costco guys. Be your own guy. And that goes for all of you too out there.
Be your own guy.
Be your own guy. Because that's one big boom.
Just one?
5 big booms being your own guy, but I don't have time to do them.
Okay. Talk to me about this.
That's the mussels. What was the other thing?
Oh, no, this is the chip.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. You know what that is? Oh my god, that's so embarrassing.
Oh no, you're good. Don't worry.
I saw it and I thought of the other dish that comes on a chip that's a snack.
Oh, so this is our. I was a little bit confused because like you said that.
Sorry about that. No, so that was our crab rangoon.
Oh, the crab rangoon.
So that's our crab rangoon. Here's what we do.
Okay.
We take robiola cheese, which is like a very like. People like to describe cheese as stinky when it's like old. I'm going to use that word. It doesn't mean a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's like a very like stinky goat cheese, very like piercing. And then we mix it with ricotta, some heavy cream, and some salt, and mix it all together. Put some imitation crab in there. That serves as our Rangoon filling. And then in Louisiana, it's very common to eat like pepper jelly on top of things. So we pair this with a pepper jelly, which is really like a set gel that we make. And then the crackers are scallion crackers. And the way we make that is we make a hot water dough, roll them out into crackers. So it's this like It's like a Chinese way of making a dough. We roll them out to crackers and like laminate scallions into them.
Okay. Laminate?
Yeah. So basically, like we put it in the middle and then we fold it over and then we roll it so that like it becomes a part of the dough, and then we fry them off. And so they're just crackers. They're very delicious crackers. It's almost as if you fried like a dumpling skin.
Interesting.
Kind of. Not really. That's like not what's going on, but for someone who's not had it, that's how I would describe it. And then just some fresh crab on top and a little bit of chives.
Yeah. The crab, everything that I said when Forrest was talking about the mussel was actually meant for the crab rangoon.
So, this is a product. Rangoon, if you don't know crab rangoon, have you had like crab rangoon before? It's like
not before this.
An American, so it's American Chinese takeout thing. So we have some Chinese inspired food in our menu because China had a very large occupation of Vietnam for a long time, and so that features into the food very heavily. So yeah, this is a like classic Chinese takeout dish, but it's our like modern interpretation, kind of deconstructed. But normally it would be like wrapped and like fried in a dumpling.
I gotcha. Yeah. So everything I said about the crab rangoon or about the other thing was meant for the crab rangoon. So still get to 0 out of 10.
So the other thing, those are the marinated mussels. Everything I said before, but about marinated mussels.
Yeah. These are the marinated mussels. Personally. I did not enjoy this one as much as the rest of the menu.
Not everybody likes mussels.
I guess I'm not much of a mussel fan. I didn't particularly like the rice cracker that came underneath. I don't know what it was. It just wasn't really...
I love rice crackers, but
it just wasn't doing it for me.
It does have its own flavor, and you have to like that. It's very sesame.
This one I'd probably give a 6 out of 10, too, on the Johnny Gross Out scale. We'll move on to this one. As you can see pictured here, I have a really awesome expression on my face. My mom took this picture of me because she thought I looked nice. Forrest, talk to me about this item.
Yeah, so that's our Tuna Crudo. It's supposed to mimic, kind of, at least visually, a duck blood salad. Okay. Which is a traditional Vietnamese dish where they, it's exactly what it sounds. It's duck blood salad. Yeah. It's very like herby, very like typically has a bunch of peanuts on it. It's very nutty. The flavor of the blood itself does come through, so it's like a little irony in a nice way. Yeah. And then all the salad things that you love. So this is a fresher take on it. I mean, obviously there's no blood in it. This is just a Tuna Crudo, but heavily inspired from that dish. It focuses more on, I would say, like citrus and tuna. Yeah. Everything else kind of plays around it. So we do have the nuts in the form of like a quinoa crunch. We fry quinoa, which is like an ancient grain, and then crush up nuts and put them together. There's some red onions on there, a few Thai chilies, some fresh herbs, cured turnips, and then obviously the tuna. And then it gets to this broth, which is supposed to look like blood. It's a hibiscus ponzu, a hibiscus blood orange ponzu. And we'd make like a hibiscus syrup and then mix it with orange juice and like soy sauce and vinegar. Ponzu is a Japanese condiment. Okay. Which is it's like a little bit sweet and tangy and mostly soy sauce.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. First off, when it came out, as you said, there are onions on it, but Forrest, before we even put stuff in, he asked if there were any like dietary restrictions to like my mother or my brother or things we didn't like.
Yeah, famously, you think you don't like onions.
You like that
scallion cracker.
Famously, objectively, I like when I don't mind when onions are in. Whatever, we don't have to get into this now. But there were no onion versions made of certain dishes. Yes, for me.
I mean, I did all the food that you had. Yeah. So I didn't put onions on it. Yeah. This is a haunted place. Okay.
Yeah, and you know, the waiter came out and he said, "Here's the no onion version for my main man," which I really appreciated. But yeah, this was very incredible. I'm really into like citrusy, like kind of like a little bit acidic kind of meals. And this one was prime for that. And like, I think the nuts specifically complemented it really well. Like I remember like
kind of brings it back.
It does. It brings it back to earth. Would that be fair to say?
No, yeah, I would say that, you know, because it's like tart and light, it needs something to be grounding, right? And that's the purpose of maybe blood or the purpose of like peanuts here and like a little bit of the turnips.
Yeah, and the tuna itself was also just very rich. It was.
Yeah, we get really nice tuna, and we get bluefin tuna, which is the nicer tuna.
Yeah, I thought this was very incredible. I licked the bowl clean. And I'm gonna give this one a 1 out of 10 on the Johnny Gross scale. You guys are going.
We're not doing poorly.
Yeah, the school lunches. They fear me. They fear my name, but fine dining.
I would go so far as to say fine dining has potential to outperform a school lunch. Potential.
I've had some really good school lunches in my day.
I know. Pizza day goes hard. Don't get me wrong.
Have you had the chicken and waffles? I mean, come on. Oh my Lord. Talk to me about this Wagyu beef.
So this is our take on like a Vietnamese street food dish. Basically, they take beef and wrap it up in a leaf and then grill it over fire. They marinate the beef first, so we do a very similar thing. We get in Wagyu beef, ground beef, and then mix it with our lemongrass marinade, which is like lemongrass and onions, lots of onions, brown sugar, rice wine vinegar, a bunch of other things, fish sauce, and then we take a perilla leaf, which is also known as a sesame leaf. It's very common in Korean food. And then wrap the meat up in that, and we grill it.
Yeah.
And then it's served with some pickled shallots, which of course George did not have. Some labna to dip on, and chili crisp on top of the labna. It's like inspired by Greek food, honestly, by like a dolma.
Really?
So this is like, I figured that you guys would like this one because, that's your people.
Yeah. Famously, I am Greek. Some say it's the difference between me and Forrest.
Yeah.
Is this Wagyu?
Yes, this is Wagyu.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went through life up until now thinking that I was never going to try Wagyu beef. I always thought it was not really an option for me. Wasn't something I super wanted to try anyway, but I was like, you know what? That's like for higher end restaurants. Yeah. So I was really happy when the server brought this out and was like, this is Wagyu beef. And I was like, oh my God.
It's a thing a lot of people have heard of.
I'm going to try this.
Yeah.
I've never tried this before, and it's my moment.
Yeah.
It was very similar to when my grandma bought caviar for the first time, like ages and ages ago, and I got to try caviar. I was like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I'm eating caviar right now. That's crazy.
It's awesome.
This was delicious. I mean, the meat specifically, like, it's true what they say. It's just better.
Yeah, it's fattier, right? It's just fattier and more flavorful. So just, people are gonna love that.
It was like, I guess it's not right to say it was like a gusher, but like in the way that like a gusher is just like an explosion of
it's fair to say that it's like a gusher. I mean, it does. Like when you eat it, it does kind of like shoot hot liquid like beef juice. It goes everywhere. In you.
This is something that I was wondering the other day. Do you know why scientifically we prefer like hot food when like in a meal versus cold food? If you don't, that's okay.
No, but I mean, I can have like theories, right? I mean, I think that a lot of people, when they want to eat, they want comfort. I think that hot food is more comforting. I'll say when food is hot and cold, we taste it differently. So you'll perceive more salt if a food is hot, which people like. For meat, I mean, it's the mental association with it being cooked. And also a lot of food needs to be cooked in order to be safe. So I'm sure that there's some like psychological survival instinct that we have to where it's like, okay, this is cooked, it's safe. We're taught that from a really young age. With that being said, like there are disadvantages to cooking food. Vegetables will lose nutritional value when you cook them. They'll leach out of them. But obviously nutritional benefits when you're talking about like meat, you won't get salmonella. So like that's pretty cool as well. But we don't always prefer hot food either. Like, I personally I love cold pizza. I prefer cold pizza.
That is true about you.
So like why do I prefer that cold but something else hot? I don't know, I think it's preference.
Taste at the end of the day.
And so this dish is one of our best sellers. Like
that makes a lot of sense.
Dude, we probably get in like at least 80 pounds of this like Wagyu. And then this is the amount you get served. So you see that's like a few ounces on there. We have one cook that comes in. Her name's Carolina. She's like the fucking goat.
Shout outs.
She comes in. She works grill every day, and she like the only prep she does is rolling this beef. She's so good at it, and also does so fucking much of it. It's like insane. And this dish, it was on like New York Times. It's on like all the articles that we're on, but specifically it was on New York Times. I want to say 36 best bites in America very recently. So people are ordering it even more.
This was definitely one of my favorite things that I had at the restaurant. Probably one of the best things I've ever eaten, just like period throughout my entire life. I mean, Dino Nuggies are still, they reign supreme, but you know what? This comes close.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Honestly, that's an honor.
the sauce was very rich. It was very creamy.
It's basically a type of yogurt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it was very good. Maybe that's my Greek speaking to me.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, from the menu. But yeah, I'm not gonna give this 5 big booms, but I am gonna give this a 0 out of 10.
0, collecting zeros like they're nothing.
All right, here's this awesome action shot of me in front of.
That is our shrimp thermidor. So this is I would say this dish is like an acknowledgement of the French occupation in Vietnam. Vietnam very famously was occupied by the French for a very long time. That's why we have things like banh mi, which is coming from a baguette bread, which is, you see.
I see.
So yeah, it's a take on a lobster thermidor, which is like this old school kind of like very fancy old fine dining French dish. They take the lobster, like to take the tail out, cook it, like reassemble the lobster, and then put I want to say like béarnaise sauce on it, or like very rich buttery sauce. It's delicious. But we do this. We get in really big shrimp, like big ass motherfuckers. Yeah, like you guys.
This is the biggest shrimp I've ever seen.
Yeah, so we get in U4s. What that means is it's 4 per pound, unit 4. Oh, yeah. So like most shrimp you probably have in your life, for everybody, you probably have like 26-30s, which means that there's like 26 to 30 or like 15-20s, 15 to 20 in a pound. There's 4 in a pound. So when you get this, you got 3 because you were VIP. Or like there's enough people, but most people get 2. That's a half a pound of shrimp on your plate. That's a lot of shrimp.
It's a lot of shrimp.
But yeah, this dish is really good. We take the shrimp, like cut it open, split it down the middle, put it in basil butter. Okay. And then roast it. So it gets like the super buttery basil garlic flavor. We put shellfish sauvignon under it, which is really more of a béarnaise sauce. It's made with lobster stock, some white wine, heavy cream, a shit ton of butter. Probably more butter than liquid. Tarragon, I'm not joking. Tarragon vinegar and some fine herbs, which is a mixture of chervil, tarragon, parsley, and chives. It's very French. Like everything about this is so French. Yeah. A little lemon squeezer and then a frisée salad, which is it's like a French bistro. And the way we've played it is very French. Like it's just such a like homage to French food. It's one of our best sellers. We also put the thing that is Vietnamese about it is that I guess that it's shrimp, but also that we put this sauce on it. It directly translates from Vietnamese to seafood sauce. Okay. I believe it's used along like the northern coast a lot of the time, and it's a bunch of lime leaves and like scallions and lime juice and condensed milk. So it's very like citrusy and sweet and like a little bit oniony. It's really good.
Yeah, I thought this was incredible. You said what made it Vietnamese, part of it was the shrimp. Are these specific shrimp like...
No, these shrimp, I believe... Oh, God. I think they're from Venezuela. Okay. Or something like that. But, shrimp is a really, really common protein in Vietnam.
Yeah, when this came out, I was a little bit spooked. I mean, you can kind of see it in my face a little bit. Like,
a lot of people aren't used to eating a whole shrimp, getting it presented face on.
Yeah, it was like looking at the soul in the shrimp. I was a little bit shocked. And also, I think the thing that detracted from this plate was the fact that I am a toddler and I don't know how to cut things on my own sometimes. So I was really struggling to like just get the shrimp like off of the outer shell and like into my mouth. I left that table a mess.
I'll be honest, that's a review that we hear often, and I think we could think about, but
I mean, yeah, I just didn't like. But the thing is, like, my mom and my brother they got it.
It's not hard to do, but if you don't know how to do it, it needs to like click. You know what I mean? It's one of those things that's like once it clicks, you're like, oh, of course, that's how I do that. Yeah. It doesn't always click right away.
Yeah, but I still thought the shrimp was incredible. It was I don't know. That one specifically, I'm having a hard time describing why I liked it a lot. Because I've been having seafood all my life. Like liking shrimp is just kind of like, it just makes sense. Yeah. Like I don't need to explain it. So now I'm like,
these are particularly nice shrimp. You know, they're big. It's like not what you're used to. It's different. Mm. And I think that has like, there's a certain amount of novelty, which is like kind of important when you're eating, especially in a fine dining restaurant. Like you want a new experience. Mm. But I also think that like this dish specifically is just kind of like classically delicious. Mm. There's just nothing like,
we don't need to say more.
It's like, it just makes sense.
One thing that I do want to note specifically about this meal is that in the middle of it, Forrest actually came out to talk to us during this. I don't know if you remember this, but you actually suggested to us that we cut open the head of the shrimp and start eating the brains.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's where there's like a bunch of fat and a bunch of flavor in there. Mm. People don't really know that. I think, in America, we like our food. We like to be separated from the fact that our food was once alive. Mm-hmm. We take a lot of comfort in that because we don't handle death very well in the white world. Mm-hmm. So like you don't eat parts of the animal that remind you that they're real. Like you're very happy to eat like a cut of steak that doesn't look like an animal, but when you have like its foot in front of you, you're like, oh, that's weird. I have a foot. Or we have shrimp here, but it's completely, no head, no shell. It's just like this weird like piece of meat. It's more comfortable for people. Yeah. And like that's totally reasonable. But I think that if you want to be, really like honest, you should be very aware of where your food comes from. Yeah. You should be extremely comfortable with the fact that something died for this. Like that's okay. But it's just true. Yeah. But also because like we're missing out on a lot of very delicious things. Like, most Americans haven't had pig ears before. Like pig ears are so fucking delicious. Like we're all missing out. Mm-hmm. And like the same with shrimp heads.
Interesting. Yeah. I was definitely like, you said that and I was like, I was feeling that in that exact moment. I was like, I don't want to eat the brain. That's what makes it like move and think and whatever. But then I kind of like, got over myself a little bit and I tried it. It was very good. It was very, I don't know. It was a different consistency than like anything I've had before.
It kind of like mushes in there. It is it's like very mushy. Creamy, almost like, yeah, but it's good.
I did like it. The shrimp, I'm going to give a 3 out of 10 on the Johnny Gross Out scale.
That's pretty good.
You guys are stacking up good review after good review. So far, not
doing too poorly.
Talk to me about this guy.
This is our Patachou. So this is a take on a Vietnamese meat pie. Okay. This is also a type of pate. So this is a different type of pate than what we had earlier in the meal. That was a mousse, a liver mousse. This is like a more pate. We take some of the mousse that we make and we mix it in with ground meat and foie gras. For people who don't know what foie gras is, that is goose liver. Okay. It's kind of a depressing food item if you know about like the practices surrounding it. It is goose liver that within the 2 weeks before they die, they start force feeding it. Oh, okay. So that it like they build up a lot of its liver like fattens up, and so it becomes this very like flavorful, admittedly delicious, and like fatty thing to eat. There's a lot of moral arguments surrounding it. Like it's banned in some places, like California. Oh. There's also some practices that are using like ethnically okay versions of foie gras and making it that way. It's much harder to do, but it's possible. But anyways, so this is that, and it's mixed in with a bunch of like woodier mushrooms. That lemongrass marinade again. This is like a common theme. It's it's a very delicious and like commonplace prep ingredient for us. We make like a big vat of it and then go through it in like a week. And then it's wrapped in cabbage and made into this pie, whereas traditionally it would be just like a hand pie. Okay. But this is like hand pie. Like kind of just like a little square of like pastry, and then in the middle there'd be like some meat. Okay. This is like more of a Wellington style. I'm sure you're familiar with like a beef Wellington from Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, he loves those things.
This is like a type of Wellington because it's the meat. It's wrapped in like a leaf. It was just cabbage in this case, and then puff pastry on top. and then we just bake that, and the meat cooks inside of the puff pastry while it all cooks, and then it's served with just like a pretty classic jus, like beef or chicken jus. We spice it up with some vegan oyster sauce because one of our chefs, growing up, Chinese, grew up like Chinese Korean household. For Thanksgiving, his mom would mix like water and oyster sauce and like thicken it with cornstarch, and that would be like gravy for him. Ooh. So to kind of like throw back to that, like what's comfortable for him and like to, a little bit of his identity on there.
Absolutely.
It's not Kevin, but it's one of our chefs in charge still.
I got you. Is that the one that I meant?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, this one personally didn't stand out to me too much. I ate it. I enjoyed what I ate, but it wasn't like, I think compared to the rest of the dishes, it just didn't stand out to me as much, if that makes sense. I think I did like the, sorry, what was the outer shell made of?
It's puff pastry.
Yeah, puff pastry. I didn't really enjoy that.
You'll be familiar with croissants.
Yeah.
Or like puff pastry.
I fucking love croissants.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. But this is also, I remember distinctly, this is the exact point in the meal when I started, like, when my eyes were bigger than my stomach. Yeah. Oh, no, or I guess the opposite. Like, my stomach was bigger than my eyes because, like, I was getting really full.
Smaller than your eyes.
Yeah, smaller.
Your eyes are bigger than your... Yeah.
Yeah. So I was, like, eating and I was, like, really full and I was like, oh... I have to keep going.
Yeah, it's harder to enjoy food that way.
Yeah, because we got the tour of Vietnam, which is just like a bunch of shit coming out.
When you're my friend, it's kind of an easy way for me to just kind of just throw things at your table.
Toss some shit out. I'm gonna give this one a 4.5 out of 10 on the Johnny Gross out still. Still a very respectable score.
Very respectable.
But definitely not one of my favorite items.
It's interesting to see your preferences.
This is a cute picture of me and Forrest that my mom took when he came out to say hi. We really just kept this man away from his job for for way longer than he probably should have been. Then we have...
this is our fish dish. So it's a take on conchua, which is it's so embarrassing I get any of this wrong, but I won't because that would be wrong. I believe it's a fish stew, which is typically made with pineapples and tomatoes, so it's kind of like a sweet and sour thing going on. We took those flavors and put that into this emulsion sauce, so similar flavors but emulsified into a delicious, rich, creamy sauce. It's with a piece of, I think right now we're doing tile fish.
Okay, yeah.
It's cured for a little bit in brine, so it's salty all the way through as opposed to just seasoning it on the outside. We sear that so it gets really crispy skin and then flip it over to finish cooking. A little piece of gailon, also known as Chinese broccoli. That's grilled. And then a little squeeze of lemon. There's some marinated mushrooms on there, shiitake mushrooms. They're not really cooked at all.
The mushrooms are...
Yeah, the mushrooms. They're cooked to get the water out.
Yeah.
But past that, they're not cooked the way you're used to having mushrooms. But we marinate them in flavorful liquid so that they get a nice amount of flavor and they retain an interesting texture because they're not all the way cooked. And then a celery root soubise or a puree, which is, did you like that puree?
Yeah.
It's so a soubise, French classically, is something that is half onion.
Okay.
Or two parts thing you're pureeing and then one part onion.
Was it cooked?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
They're pretty deeply caramelized, and then we puree it.
Okay. Yeah, I see you. This one also, I think a similar situation to the last one where
marinated tomatoes. We dehydrate tomatoes.
Okay.
Sorry. We dehydrate tomatoes and then we reconstitute them in a very flavorful liquid so that they are delicious and they kind of get this I don't know, jerky texture. Not like jerky.
That makes sense.
It's if you were to soak a raisin in water.
Okay.
They have texture. Yeah.
Yeah, this one didn't stand out to me as well. I'm sitting here. I remember the fish was very soft, which I really liked, and I did really like the broccoli specifically. That one. Those are the two components I guess that really stood out to me. You'll have to forgive me. It's been like almost a month.
It's okay.
Since I've eaten here. But yeah, I'll have to give this one a 5 out of 10 on the Johnny Gross. That's
this
just
dish for me, it's like, this is one of our most popular dishes. People really like it. For me, like, it's not my favorite dish either because I'm not the biggest seafood fan. And fish and like celery root is a very classic, like very delicious pairing. But for me, it's like, I don't love it just because I'm not a massive seafood fan again. But I really like the conchua flavor that this one gets. It's like, that's what makes it interesting. This is another one of those dishes that's like very French by nature. But then we make Vietnamese by like inserting this like this flavor into it that is like not
changes the game.
I think what we try to do, or what at least we get told that we do, is like people from Vietnam will like come in, or Vietnamese people will come in and they'll be like, yeah, these flavors, like they are Vietnamese, but the presentation of it is like what you would consider like fine dining or like more French style, you know, like it's kind of how we're blending those things.
I gotcha. I see you. Up next. Oh goodness. Yeah. We have.
That's our lamb dish. That's one of our most popular dishes. So that is a lamb and beets dish. We get this lamb from a farm in Pennsylvania. I think Fells Point. Whatever, a farm in Pennsylvania. They service a lot of like really, really high quality restaurants that are like 2 Michelin stars. So the lamb is not normal. It's a lot more like steak. It's a lot fattier. Than like, it's like normally when you have lamb, it's kind of lean. This is like not lean lamb. It's like it's like if you were to get like a Wagyu version of lamb. It's served with a beet puree, which I don't like beets, and I like this puree. Which is like crazy to me. I've never liked beets at all, and I like this puree. We take shio koji, which is, remember koji from miso? So it's not that, but it is koji.
Okay.
That we ferment like further. We put it in like 4% water, or sorry, 4% salt and like a bunch of water, and then let it sit for a few days, and it turns into like this. You can like marinate meat in it, and it gets a kind of like dryish flavor. But it itself is also like kind of like it's very like fermented, like salty, delicious thing. So we put it into a puree. A little bit of like rose water to bring out like floralness. Some like orange, vinegars. Can't give away all of our shit here.
Yeah, I understand.
Brown butter. The lamb itself is marinated in like ginger, garlic, and shio koji and olive oil. So the purpose of the olive oil is that like there's fat soluble flavors and water soluble flavors, so you're just getting more flavor. The shio koji gives it kind of like a dry age taste without us actually having to dry age it. There's some roasted beets on there. I did like that. Roasted beets. Some like grilled chicory. We also grill the lamb. We really, really aggressively season it, so it's supposed to kind of be like a cumin lamb.
Okay.
Cumin lamb is a very popular Chinese street food. Typically going to be like a skewer situation.
I see you.
But this is not that. Obviously, this is like a whole thing, and then it's a little bit of a crumble, sesame seeds, fried shallots, fried garlic.
Yeah, I ate a lot of this because this was the moment where my mom had to like tap out. Because she was just so full. So she tried it.
I think this is one of our best, at least one of our best sellers, but I like it. It's one of our best dishes.
I really enjoyed this. It was just, the meat was very juicy and very tender at the same time, which I really liked, and also just incredibly flavorful. Like even beyond like the seasoning, like actually getting into like the middle sections, it was cooked. It was cooked in medium rare.
I would say it's cooked. We cook it to like medium rare.
Yeah, that's where like I prefer.
Medium is definitely, I think, the best lamb.
I absolutely agree. And the beets I also tried. I also ate all of those. It's kind of similar to you where I don't normally enjoy beets. But here I did really enjoy them. And this was just another thing that I ate here that was just like absolutely incredible. Really just like stacking on like great dish after great dish. I'm really happy about that. I'm going to give this one a 1 out of 10. I have absolutely no complaints.
That's awesome.
And then the final main dish that I tried was the quail.
Oh yeah, that's our stuffed quail. So this is one of my favorite dishes from like a prep point of view. I think it's pretty fun. We make duck sausage, so it's duck and chicken sausage with a bunch of 5-spice, basil, garlic, ginger. That is stuffed into quail, and then we steam that off, and then we fry it per order and glaze it. So it's kind of like sticky, tacky glaze with like very savory, herby sausage in the middle, and then obviously the quail is the vessel. We make a fried rice, so it's like we make tomato rice, which is common in Vietnam, but we really it's like a coconut. It's cooked in coconut milk, so it's got that kind of like richness. It's also cooked with some tomato paste, so tomato-y. And then we make Holy Trinity, or Trinity in Cajun cuisine is onions, bell peppers, and oh my god, dude, onions, bell peppers.
Hey, no way, you've been talking a lot.
A lot of food. My brain's dead.
This is your O.J. Simpson episode. This is how yeah. We put some of the same tomato rice that we then fry, so there's some crispy elements to it. Fish sauce, liquid aminos, and then obviously that's fried rice, so that's very delicious. Oh yeah.
And then also pickled bean sprouts, so some levity, and then we put it with a clementine mustard, which is like, I think, a very fun. From a technical point of view, I think citrus puree is very fun. Like the way that you make it is that you like have to blanch it multiple times. It's kind of labor intensive, but it makes a really good result. Yeah, no,
this is in my top 3 favorite things that I had at the restaurant, just because it was like same thing with the first thing that we tried. It was just like so different from what I've had previously.
This is one of the like punch you in the face flavors.
Yeah, I like there was just a very nice hint of sweetness to the quail specifically. It was very like. It tasted fulfilling. That's the word that's like coming to mind. It was like very full, not necessarily like heavy, but it was like I ate and I felt like I felt great about eating it, and that also translated to the fried rice underneath. You know, it was very zesty. It was there was like a very healthy amount of like crunch to it, which, you know, again, I really like a good crunch when it comes to
you need the texture
comes to my meals.
Sure.
And I basically soloed this meal. Like my mom and my brother, they were like out, and I was like, I'm so happy to just like
that's awesome.
Eat both of these like quail wings or whatever, and then like get the little like the fried rice, get that all. I was basically a trash can that night. Yeah. They stepped on my foot. I opened my mouth. They poured that shit down my gullet. This is gonna be another certified 0 out of 10 on the Johnny Grossout scale.
On the Johnny
Grossout scale. Yes. Then Forrest came back out. He explained to me that we're going to be trying everything from the dessert menu.
Yeah.
And I didn't put the pictures in the slideshow because I'm a fucking bozo.
I think our dessert menu, or our desserts in general, most people go out to restaurants and like you'll notice that most restaurants kind of just have the same desserts. Most restaurants just kind of order in their desserts. They don't have the resources to have a dedicated pastry team.
Yeah.
We have a pretty large dedicated pastry team with a very talented pastry chef, Susan Bay. And so like they do a really good job, and I won't be able to explain most of these very well at all because I don't work pastry, but all of our desserts are just as good as our food, if not better. Like I think going to like nicer restaurants, always order dessert because like you'll probably have something you've never had before. Like getting a plated dessert is like an experience that most people like don't realize is like going to be incredible. Yeah, no, I thought I thought every dessert that I had was absolutely fantastic. Like I would eat again. They had like they were all very distinct and all brought different like things to the table. Like I remember one specifically, you could take your like spoon and like hit the top of it and it'll like it'll crumble. Me and my brother did it like at the same time. It was so cute. It's fun.
And it was just a lot of fun. It definitely elevated things. And also that one specifically had a very nice like tartness to it, which I like really enjoy. I think I said earlier, but like a nice hint of tartness is something that I really do appreciate about like even beyond desserts, like meals in general is something
you
that
need something to balance all of that.
I used to be a kid who was really into like sour food. So that just kind of like brought me right back. That's the one that you're looking at.
Yeah, I believe that's our seaweed dessert. So our desserts are really interesting because they're all based off of things that are either challenging for people to try or traditionally considered savory, and especially that are like already Asian ingredients. So like we have a curry dessert, which like is really cool. You would not typically associate curry with dessert, nor would you really associate curry with Vietnam if you don't know about their food. But you know, there's a lot of Indian influence as well. We have a tofu dessert, which is
incredible.
Which is like not, you know, you hear tofu, you don't really think of dessert.
No, not at all.
At least in the Western world. But, you know, you can take silken tofu and you can kind of like puree it and they make a cheesecake out of it. So it's used as this like thickener and like thing that sets the cheesecake. That's awesome.
Yeah, the durian dessert was absolutely incredible. Not only because I love white chocolate, but just like, you know, durians, we often think of them as, you know, we like most people at least in the Western world, like think about durians and they're like, oh, that's the fruit that smells bad. I wouldn't necessarily want to eat it.
It's outlawed in public transport in many Asian countries.
Yeah, because of just how goddamn stanky it is.
Yeah.
But actually eating it, I thought it was incredibly delicious and very rich, and I really liked it, especially paired with the white chocolate. I think just like elevated like the white chocolate experience, because I love white chocolate.
Yeah.
This is one of the best things that I've had that had white chocolate in it.
Yeah.
Maybe not as much as the cookies and cream Feastable bar, but it's definitely close.
But that's a hard bar.
Yeah, that's a hard bar to cross.
Yeah, I mean, and what a good way to kind of like experiment with something you've never had before, and like what an approachable way to like try something you've never had before. You know, we have seaweed dessert, a mushroom dessert. Like these are things that you just don't associate with dessert until you have it, and you're like, wow, this is actually a really creative way. Like I do taste a mushroom here, but I'm tasting that you're putting it with chocolate. Yeah. So now it's like this earthy sweetness as opposed to having a mushroom and being like, oh yeah, like this is in my stir fry.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just going to give the overall dessert experience at Moon Rabbit a 1 out of 10. I thought it was absolutely incredible. And again, same with pretty much everything that I had at Moon Rabbit. It made me think deeper about like the food that I eat and how I eat it, and like what I enjoy, maybe what I used to think I didn't enjoy so much, you know, like mushrooms, for instance. I think I kind of broached that one a little bit a while ago, but like there are foods that I used to not like as a kid, and then like I would like go about my life like thinking that I don't like them, like mushrooms, like beets, like, or things that I maybe was like opposed to for a while, like the brains of animals or like the livers of animals. But I like was in this situation where I got to you know, try it out, and I found out that maybe I really do enjoy it. And I'm glad you brought up onions, Forrest, because eating at your restaurant made me think deeper about like onions specifically, and you know where I usually don't enjoy them, and then kind of being like, well, here are instances where I did enjoy them, so you know, what's the deal? So I think I kind of figured out more about myself specifically. I think for onions specifically, I like them when they're in something, but when they're added on to something, say a burger or a salad or a pizza, I don't enjoy them.
I think you don't like them raw.
I just don't think I like them raw. But I think for a good long while, that was like where they stood out the most in my mind, if that makes sense. Like growing up, like as a kid,
well,
you know,
going to most harsh. Yeah, right. They have like that like onion like bite. It's like weird.
Yeah, you know, you go to McDonald's, you get a Big Mac. They got those like diced onions. And I hated that shit. And I thought, you know what? From this day on, I swear to not like onions. And I think even nowadays, I still would not like my onions that way. I'm very sorry. But you've opened my eyes to onions cooked in food. Caramelized.
You had many onions.
Yeah, I had a lot of onions, and I had no complaints, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah. I think my mother said it best at the end of the meal when she said that she's sad to be leaving. Because like everything was so great, the service was incredible, the atmosphere was fun and inviting. So I think, Forrest, I'm gonna give Moon Rabbit a 1 out of 10 on the Johnny Gross scale. I would absolutely, if you're in the DC area at any time ever, and you got some money in your pockets, I would highly recommend giving Moon Rabbit a little trip.
Wow, this is probably going to be our most important review yet.
Yeah, Forrest, I hope you're ready for thousands. No. Millions of reservations over the course of this next year.
Millions. I mean, that just makes sense. That's definitely possible with the capacity of our restaurant.
I go around to a lot of school lunches.
Yeah. Lots of people keep eating school lunches. I mean, from what I understand, more people each year are eating school lunches, and it's in direct correlation with the fact that you were also making videos.
Exactly. Maybe our audience will be disheartened by the fact that you guys don't have chicken nuggets.
It's celery, by the way. That's the other thing in Holy Trinity. Holy shit.
You guys don't have chicken nuggets, or
we do actually.
You do,
but only for it's like off menu for kids. People bring in their children.
That makes sense.
We have chicken nuggets, but obviously, if you're an adult, you don't get them.
Yeah. I'm very happy to have eaten at your restaurant. You did an incredible job. I'm really happy with what I ate. It's definitely one of, if not the best food experience I've had in my entire life. So thank you for giving that to me. I really appreciate that. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the episode. I mean, that's the review.
Yeah, there you go. Now the age-old question has been answered on whether or not you should go to Moon Rabbit. The answer is yes.
The answer is probably yes.
Yeah.
But hey, don't take our word for it. Take the thousands of comments that say it's amazing in the comment section and in our Spotify reviews. Mm-hmm.
They're leaving comments.
I mean, I know that there are thousands of comments, right?
Yeah, and I know that the person listening to this is going to go out to Moon Rabbit, eat your food, ask to say hello to you, and then go home and leave a comment talking about what they thought of the food.
And damn it, George, if they're leaving a comment, they better as well subscribe.
I mean, they might as well. Yeah. And if you're on YouTube, leave a like.
Dear God, but if you're on Spotify, what would you do?
Oh, the answer is obvious. Leave a 5-star review.
A 5-star review, George? It makes so much sense.
Like candy.
Like candy. And speaking of candy, we gotta go. So we'll see you next time. And as always,
adios. Try not the adios today.
Okay, no, I like it. Yeah. It's almost as cool. I like the little prayer hands. Yeah. Adios, yeah. Almost as cool as we'll catch you on the flip.
Yeah, almost.